Welcome, everybody. This is Books Cafe, brought to you by www.free-ebooks.net. I'm your host, Scott Paton, and I'm delighted to have you here with us today. Got a very, very special guest. But before I bring him on, I want to just show you our website, and now I can't find it. Oh, I know why I can't find it. I try to get super organized, and of course, my organization ideas do not fit with the platform that we are using, and I hit it. But here we go. I just wanted to take a second and show you our site, freeebooks.net. You can go here. You can download 5 free ebooks a month for free. And we have a VIP where you can download unlimited books when you're a VIP, and you get access to over, I think it's 5,000. You don't get a free, I don't know if you can hear the plane or not, you don't get a free plane ride, but you can get free audiobooks as a VIP as well. And we're constantly adding new featured books that our editors think are awesome. And in case you're wondering, we have over 40,000 ebooks and audiobooks in just about every category you could think of. If you find that there's one that we missed, let us know. We'll start adding it. And the purpose of our site actually is to help authors. We know that one of the hardest things for authors to do is to grow an audience. So we've got over 5 million members, and we send out newsletters every week highlighting and spotlighting different authors that we think are exceptional. And you can go and find new authors, because if you're in the book publishing business, you want an author who's got an audience, who is popular, who's established and everything else. And what does that mean for the brand new authors? So we said, you know what, we're going to help you guys. We're going to be featuring your books on our site. And there you go. So head over. So basically, if you're a reader, head over there. We've got amazing books for you to read. If you're an author and you want to grow your audience, head over there, sign up. Guess what? It's free. And take some of your books, put them up there, let us know, and we'll see if we can help you grow an audience. We have a lot of authors who have 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 downloads of their books. I'm not sure what the record is. I guess I'll have to check and let you know next time. But that's our purpose, is to be able to show you, introduce you to new authors, help the new authors grow their audience, and there you go. So part of what we do on this show is we interview authors, and we interview marketing experts who can help you authors get that audience, because there's more to it than just writing your book and then hoping somebody buys it at Barnes and Nobles. And so with that, I want to introduce today's guest. I've known him for well over 10 years. He's an amazing marketer. He's a nationally recognized direct response marketing expert, which is what you really need if you want to get your book out there. Because you have to have super headlines, you have to have hooks to draw people in, and then you've got to keep their attention. Kind of like writing a book. He's the author of 8 best-selling marketing books, and I'm going to get him to show you, because before we went on the air, he said, "Yeah, I know something about books," and he held up all these books. And book 7 is Marketing Domination for Podcasting. So I've been podcasting for 15 years, and I'm always excited to. In fact, I think I might even be in that book, but I'll have to ask him. But it's on the shelves of Barnes & Noble, Target, and Walmart. And he's the co-host of the 6th-rated podcast in 2019, the Sharkpreneur podcast, which was co-hosted with Shark Tank's Kevin Harrington. He's been interviewed on the news on NBC, CBS, featured in Inc. magazine, Forbes, and CBS Money Watch. And he's the founder of one of the fastest-growing direct response marketing firms in the country, Marketing Domination, LLC. And that makes new customers appear for your business like magic. Oh, I forgot too. He's a magician, almost said musician. So Welcome to the show, Seth Greene. How are you doing?
I am fantastic, my friend. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm super excited to be here and share with your viewers and listeners.
Awesome. So before we do anything, you have to hold up your books. Look at that. Wow. So Seth, how long does it take you normally to write a book, get a book out? Let's just say today you decided, you know what, I need to do a book on whatever the topic is. Typically, because I'm assuming you've got a bit of a system now.
We do. So I own a podcasting and a publishing company and a marketing company. So I don't think I'm a fair answer for that question, but I'll give you my answer anyway. So we have 3 processes by which I write books and we write them for our clients. So the process that you're probably familiar with is you sit down and you literally write a book. And depending on how many hours you commit to and how organized you are, and if that's fiction or nonfiction, I would say you could get it done in 30, 60, 90, 100, 120 days, depending on how much time you put in effort to writing. But that's a long process because you're physically writing every chapter yourself. You're physically writing every word yourself. We have a second process whereby we have Emmy award-winning, ghostwriters who will interview you and write your book for you and ghostwrite the whole thing, in which case it doesn't take you very much time. You just have to do all the interviews so that we can get out of you what we need to write your book, whether that's an autobiography or a business book. And then the third process we have, which is the least amount of work, is where we podcast our way to a book. And we produce a done-for-you podcast where we get all the guests. You have a show every week. We literally write the interview for you. You just read the questions. And then we take the transcripts and edit them of those interviews, write some chapters about you, do all the layout, graphic design, publishing, marketing, and you end up with a book in 30 minutes a week. So depending on how long those interviews are, that might be 10 to 12 interviews. So maybe it depends on how fast you do them. We've had people who did, the average is 6 months from start to finish, but we've had clients who did it in as short as, 2 or 3 months.
That's awesome. And there's some really good nuggets of gold in there, Seth. I really like the idea of, obviously I like the idea of using podcasts to turn it into a book. Now, do you find, so you do it you would do it in a very structured manner, right? Because a lot of the people I know who do podcasts, or for example, today, I think it would be, a huge task when we're done to actually pull out and compared to if I've got 5 or 6 questions I'm going to ask you, you're going to answer, and then we
correct. A podcast interview for the purposes of turning it into a book ultimately is going to be structured and worded differently than a free-flowing impromptu, you just ask whatever comes up. And yes, you are right. You are in book number 7, which is Market Domination for Podcasts. You are chapter number 3.
I was thinking about that book, and I said, hold on a second. He interviewed me for that, didn't he?
I did. That was part of what launched that company.
So what are some of your favorite questions that you have people answer when they're making a book?
That's a great question. What are my questions? So I won't give you all of them, but I'll give you some of our secret sauce.
Yeah, just a couple, because
sure.
I'm always looking for good questions.
Sure. So some of them are not rocket science. One of them is what I call my magic question that sets up the post-show follow-up to turn into a client, a promoter, a joint venture partner. It turns into the money. So I would say we always start with, how'd you get started? We want to know what their background is. We want to know what their bio is. We want to know why they do what they do. We ask them who they serve. We ask them what they do that's different. And then I will say my magic question is, which I asked you, was, Scott, given all the success you've achieved, what's your biggest challenge now? And we don't do that at the end. We work it into the middle so that we always end on happy notes of you showing off and talking about how fabulous you are, to the point where you may have even forgotten that I asked you that question. But when I do the after the show airs follow-up, after we send the gift and after we send the thank you, there's a, hey, Scott, shoot, I'm giving this away. We say, hey, Scott, if I remember correctly, you said on the interview, blankety blank was a challenge for you. I had an idea about that. You want to jump on a quick Zoom call for 10 minutes and I'll share my idea with you? And 9 times out of 10, you say, sure, because I put you on the show. I didn't try and sell you anything. So we
Yep.
built a relationship in a different way than you can do any other way, which is why we're such big promoters of podcasts. And then you say yes, we jump on the call, I share my idea, and then you will 9 times out of 10 say that's a great idea, because I rarely have bad ideas. You know, I mean, I'm not trying to be arrogant. It's just true.
So,
I wouldn't.
Well, the thing is if you didn't have a good idea,
I wouldn't tell you. Yeah, I wouldn't tell you. I wouldn't reach out to. I wouldn't say that. So I had a good idea. We jump on a call. I share it with you, and 9 times out of 10, you'll say one of two things. You'll say, "Hey, you know, maybe that's not a good fit. Maybe you don't want to do it." That's rare.
Right.
9 times out of 10, there is you always say, "Tell me more," and then you will either say it's about a 50-50 split. Half the time people say, "Thanks, I don't have time to do that. I'm going to try and do that. That's a great idea. I'll tell my people," or whatever. And the other half of the time, the person says, "Can you help me do that?"
Right.
We just happen to have a process that does it for you. Of course we can. And that leads to a new relationship.
Yeah, that is an awesome strategy. And 1% of the population of podcasters, or even people that for whatever reason are getting together and chatting, will do that. I think to me, that's one of my big strategies when I'm teaching people about podcasting is, the podcast is one thing, but it's the relationship you build with the other person. That's the other thing.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if nobody listens, because would I love a vanity metric? I mean, we happen to have download numbers because Kevin's my co-host. I mean, we had him before, but he put a 0 on the end of them because he's famous, and I'm marketing famous, not Starbucks famous, as my kids call it. And I think we tell our clients, some of them, yes, we're going to build an audience for them. Yes, we're going to build a following, but it's not about, did I get 10,000, 100,000 downloads? Because most podcasters won't. You know that.
Right.
They're going to have a small audience. But if they have the right small audience, it explodes their business. And if they interview the right guests who have the following, who will share the show and then share other things with their following, it will explode their business. We do it every single week for our own business. It's recruited me over 72 affiliate partners who promote. I'm literally doing a webinar at least once a week, if not more, promoting our products and services for someone because of a relationship that started because I interviewed them and then followed our strategic process.
Okay, so I hope everybody was really paying attention and listening. And I would strongly recommend, if you're serious, whether you're an entrepreneur or an author, is that you rewind and just re-listen to what he did. Take notes. One of my friends calls that a writer downer. There was probably 43 writer downers in that one breath, and that probably is the secret to success if you're an author. So I'm going to have a quick yes/no question for you, Seth, because I want to jump into something else that you said. Should authors have a podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. And it can build an audience. It can get them reviews. It can build them a network of people to promote their book and their message. We've done this for quite a few authors of our publishing company, some even fiction, some novels. And how else it's great for media attention, because what if you interview the reporters who write about your topic in literary magazines or wherever, they never get interviewed. They always write about other people. So if you shine a spotlight on them, it's how I got an Inc. and Forbes magazine. I interviewed the writer who would write about our industry. And then after half an hour interview, they're like, "Oh my God, I didn't ask you anything about you." And I said, "You weren't supposed to, it was about you." Well, let me I want to return the favor. Let me talk to you, and what you're doing sounds so interesting. And that got me stories in both magazines.
Brilliant. Brilliant. So I'm going to highlight one of the little things that you did in the previous breath. And I want everyone, did you notice that he dropped that he does a webinar and he has affiliates? So if you don't know what an affiliate is, an affiliate is a person who has a following of some sort, and when they recommend something, oftentimes their tribe or their community will just go and do it. And I think we all have people that if they say, buy this vitamin C brand or get this book,
right?
They don't think about it. They just do it. A great book, by the way, that I just read was called They Ask You Answer. And do you have it there?
No, but I'm writing it down because I'm going to go buy it as soon as we're done.
And that is what has happened to everybody I have told about this book. I told one of my clients about it because I was only on like chapter 3, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is it's perfect for you, Seth. You're going to love it. And it was perfect for Wendy. And so I don't email her. I said, I'm reading this book and here's this thing, and I think we should do it. And she bought the audiobook, and her brother bought the audiobook. She bought the book, and they started implementing chapter 1, 2, and 3 4 days later. It was amazing to watch. So an affiliate is someone that you just recommend something and you just saw it happen, although I'm not getting paid anything from Amazon from the purchase of the book, but that's the process, right? There's something that, if someone says something and we know them and we trust them and we know that whatever they're saying is for our best and highest good or our benefit, then oftentimes we'll just jump on and say, okay, I'm going to go get that book. I'm going to go do this, and whatever it happens to be. So one of the ways that Seth grows your business is through affiliates. So he'll find someone that has a good following, and he'll say, and this is what I didn't know or think about before you said it, was we do webinars, right? Now, he didn't say, Scott, I would love to do a webinar with you, right? He's here volunteering his time and he's sharing great knowledge. And as soon as you said, we do a webinar, the thing that went into my head was, and I'm going to say it right now, is Seth, we need to do a webinar with you.
I would agree. I was going to include that as part of our proven post-show follow-up process a couple steps down the line. But since you already bought right away, I will happily skip a couple steps and say, absolutely, I would love to.
And that's another
thing. I wrote down all of our authors need to, because we have, God, I think we published like 70, 80 books now. All of our authors, we need to be offering them the opportunity to get listed on free ebooks. They need to be buying services from you. I wrote down like a paragraph of notes of, oh my God, I can't believe I missed that over the years we haven't done an incredible joint venture together, and we absolutely should. And you just brought it up, so we skipped a couple steps. That's exactly how it works, everybody. Go do it.
That's right. That's right. And it's such a difference compared to LinkedIn. Okay. So there's a fella, Kevin Kenobi, something, it's KK. It's Kevin something with a K. And he is like the LinkedIn super guru, right? Okay. And guess where I friended him on Facebook. I don't think we're connected on LinkedIn. It's funny. But and this was years ago, because I was really frustrated with LinkedIn. I thought, I've got 3 connections on LinkedIn and I've got 3,000 on Facebook. Like, what's up? And so I contacted him and I said, Kevin, you're the guru on LinkedIn. And like, how did you get so many people? And he doesn't push any business. He just pushes his life philosophy, which is help other people be good, blah, blah, blah. And he said, Scott, just relax, it'll happen. So now, years later, I have paid no attention to LinkedIn, and I'm getting like 40 requests to connect on LinkedIn every week or two. And I go through them, and if it's kind of like in our industry, or I think there's a connection. If it's a university student in Bangladesh, I usually don't accept them. And and like, he's right. But the problem is that everybody, and I'm going to really generalize, but everybody that I don't know who connects with me on LinkedIn, as soon as I connect, I get a LinkedIn message, and I dislike them because it just says you have a message from George, and then I have to click on that and go to LinkedIn to see what the message is, right? Whereas usually it'll have a little bit of something of the message, so I don't have to make all those steps.
We could have a whole separate 3-hour conversation about LinkedIn and how we use it to generate business for our authors.
Yeah.
Which is not what you're referring to, because the way you just said happened sounds spammy to me, as opposed to adding value first before you ever ask for anything. Right.
And so there's another golden nugget, everybody. Give first before you expect to get, right?
Amen.
And that makes such a huge difference. So, Seth, let's take a couple minutes and talk a little bit about how you got started. Like, how did market domination come about? And we need to go far enough back to talk about magic.
Okay, so we're doing the law. All right, so I'm going to try and do the shortest version possible of my bio. And we'll see. You're going to have to time. I'll see if I can pull it off in under 8 minutes because we're going further back than I normally go. Okay.
And I'm not going to ask you to do a magic trick, although I really would love to see one.
We'll do that on the webinar. And
great.
I'm going to talk really fast to come to this. Okay. So I was 8 years old. I was doing a research project for middle school, whatever. We were learning about other countries. I got Egypt. Seth. Seth is the name of the Egyptian god of death. That kind of freaked me out. I went on this occult phase, like trying to summon Satan in my basement, and that didn't work. And the reason I was trying to summon Satan in my basement as a nice Jewish boy is because I was getting bullied relentlessly, physically, emotionally by another kid on our street, who outweighed me by like 100 pounds. And my life with the time was miserable. Summoning Satan didn't work to curse the kid. My dad got me a deck of tarot cards to distract me from summoning Satan because my mother freaked out as a neurotic Jewish mother. So the tarot cards, I went to a store to buy a book because there was no internet then about how to read tarot cards. It was a magic store. Instead of the book, I took the money and bought my first magic trick, and that's how I became a magician. Now, if you fast forward long enough, I went to college, undergrad, Syracuse University for musical theater. I wanted to be a Broadway star when I was 18. By the time I graduated, my dad had driven me nuts every single semester about the price of Syracuse back then. Every month, every quarter, he got the tuition bill and freaked out. By the time I graduated, I said, I can't take this anymore. I don't want to starve as an actor, and B, I want to go help. I became a college financial planner to help other families cut the cost of college like in half so that their kids didn't have to go through what I went through. I was working for a Fortune 500 financial services firm. They told me to cold call 300 strangers a day out of the Yellow Pages phone book and try and get them to invest money with me. I hated it. I read a magic trade journal for magicians. There was a full page ad for a marketing course by a guy named Dave D. I borrowed the money from my parents for Hanukkah and my birthday that year to go buy the marketing course. I became the busiest, most expensive magician in Western New York where I live. I did a critique call with Dave D and said, would this work in my real job as a financial advisor? He said, yes. I said, where'd you learn it? He said, Dan Kennedy. Fast forward a little bit. I got married, bought a house, and had a first baby, and my wife quit her job to stay home with the baby. I'm still cold calling for a living. I went and borrowed more than our mortgage to go hire Dan to learn direct response marketing to grow my financial services practice. That put me in the top 30 financial advisors nationwide for opening new accounts in my 20s. It worked so well. I got written, and this was before the internet, all direct mail, all print advertising. It worked so well, it got me written about in every trade journal in my industry and financial services. My phone started ringing with financial advisors going, how do I do what you did? I said, Dan, what do I do? He said, start a marketing company and do it for them. That was 13 years ago when we started MarketDominationLLC.com. It started out as me and one financial advisor I was willing to let license my content. Over the last 13 years, we now have a staff of 35. We've served almost 3,000 clients in every time zone on the planet. We're in 63 different industries. And as you mentioned, I've written a whole bunch of books, co-host a top-rated podcast, and have grown an awesome direct response marketing, publishing, and podcasting firm that helps other authors, professionals, professional practices, e-commerce marketers drive the right leads to their business. So we grow it so that they can run it. And that was under 8 minutes.
I don't think I could ever talk that fast.
I'm from New York.
I know. That's awesome. So I didn't realize that you still have part of your business looking after the financial advisors.
I do. I still own the college planning firm. Still exists. I still run it. I have a great team, and because that was my original mission, so I would never give it up. So we're still managing money. We're still helping people every week cut the cost of college. And it's what started the marketing firm. And yeah, half of our business on the marketing side is serving financial advisors and insurance agents. The other half is all the other different industries.
Well, okay. So I was going to say you had two main focuses, the authors and the financial planning, but that's not true.
No, there's financial planning is half of our business. The other half is split up among authors, other professional practices like lawyers, accountants, dentists, doctors, and then the e-commerce people who sell products or courses online. So it's split into three.
Into three. Awesome. And your first start was with the financial. So yeah. So I tell people very often that you need to focus on one industry or one niche that doesn't mean that if somebody's in a different industry or niche, you ignore them. It just means
Correct.
that you don't, they come along because
Yeah.
there's, there's cross-pollination of everything all the time,
Yes.
but you need to have a specific focus. Kind of like if you want to be a famous author, a fiction author, and you wrote a book on, that was a romance book, and then you wrote a science fiction book, and then you wrote a horror. It doesn't really, I don't know anybody that does that. I mean, Stephen King, he's not known for romance, right?
Right. So I would agree. And again, we still serve the original niche we started in. And why I started there is because I was a financial planner and solved a problem, and everyone else had the same problem as me. And then the principles of direct response marketing that we do work for any industry. We didn't actually try and diversify. Other people saw our marketing. Other people got financial advisors referred their business owner clients.
Right.
So it grew, and we said, oh, I guess we could do the same thing for them and just change the messaging, but everything else would work. And it did. So we built a process that works, regardless of the industry that it's in. We're not actively trying to go out and dominate other industries. All of that just shows up because one sees what we do.
Right. Yeah. Once people start, it's like word of mouth can't be beat.
True. Right? And the affiliate is the word of mouth on steroids, because what's better than you telling one person about me is you emailing 5 million people about me.
Right. we kind of did that too, didn't we?
We kind of did. And I'm going to write you a check on a regular basis to do that.
Awesome. Well, this has been so much fun, Seth. I'm glad we got together. I'm glad we reconnected. This happened, by the way, because Seth reached out to me about something tangentially related. And then I said, we've got this show. We'd love to have you on. Can you come on? And he said, I'd love to be on. And that's part of the relationship building. And I think, I know this isn't true, but my image of authors is somebody that goes into a cabin in Maine somewhere.
Out of the cave, yep.
The fire is going, the snow is coming down. They've got a manual.
Away.
And the point being is that they don't network, they don't get out, they don't know, they know how to say write, or they know what their business is. They don't.
It doesn't matter how good a book they write if no one ever reads it, and that's the marketing part. That's the marketing part.
And today's been really like a master class on a lot of really important marketing concepts. And you did a really good job when you told us how you got here about what Marketing Domination LLC is. So I don't have to tell you about that or anybody about that. But what could someone expect when they reach out to you? So I'm an author.
Yeah.
I've got a book, whether it's nonfiction or fiction. I reach out to you. What happens next?
Okay, so we've got 2 offers specifically for your authors. Number 1 is if they go to Market Domination LLC, it's market, not marketing, marketdominationllc.com, they will see a sizzle reel of us. And then right next to it, there's a form for them to fill out, and they can jump on our calendar for a 15-minute strategy session where we will talk to them about what they're trying to accomplish with their book or their business. And I guarantee you I can tell them what to do that will solve that in under 15 minutes. And then the other offer is if they go to our Facebook fan page, if they go to facebook.com/Market Domination LLC, the first post at the top of the page says attention authors. It's just for your people. There is, if they follow the instructions and type in the comment they're supposed to type in, we will send them a 36-page ebook called the Dream 50 Interview, which is literally a transcript edited of a webinar I did on this exact topic that talks about how they can get a network of 50 professional referral sources or affiliates, whatever you want to call them, who will promote their book and their message every week for a year. So if they go to our Facebook fan page, I'll leave that post pinned to the top for the next 2 weeks or so. And if they type in the keyword that they're supposed to type in, we'll send them that ebook absolutely free. It's 36 pages. They can read it. It literally says step by step, this is exactly how to do it. And of course, if they want to learn more about how we can do it for them, there is information about that too.
Awesome. Thank you. I was going to bring it all up, but I have friends on Facebook that send messages and stuff, and I didn't want that popping up in the show. I didn't think about that. Otherwise, I would have taken a screenshot and showed it so everyone can see. But I went to show it, and I thought, oh, there's 3 friends that just asked me something, and it popped up on the
it's
screen.
all going to show, right.
they're all going to show. And I don't know what they're going to ask me, and I don't want anyone else to see the question.
If they ask, you answer.
So Seth, thank you so much for joining us today. Really, really appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to doing some more things and having you back on the show too. It'd be really great to, have some of your authors on the show and talk with them about their experiences with you and their success, and also featuring their books so that people can find out about these amazing authors that you work with.
Yeah, and we've got a string of, we've been very fortunate. We have a heck of a track record in terms of creating Amazon bestsellers and then building marketing platforms that actually make them money off of that. So yeah, I would love to come back and share.
Yeah. And that was the one question that I should have asked before I started closing. And that is, how much money can you make from a book compared to how much money can you make when you do a back end? And I guess that's what we'll talk about when you come back, because
there's the teaser for next time, because you're not going to get rich selling a book, as I have told my wife, who is now a best-selling author, who's a top 100 mommy blogger. And she's like, well, when do I make all the money from the book? And I said, you're not gonna. I said, you're going to make all the money off of the funnel and the marketing and the upsells and cross-sells that I built for you. And that is generating more money for her every month than she ever made as a therapist or a supervisor and trainer of therapists. So she's thrilled that she's home, works a couple hours a week, and makes more than she did in her more than full-time job that she has a master's degree for.
Nice. And that's the goal, is you get the book, people get to know who you are, and then what happens after the book is the magic.
Look at that. You worked it in. I love it.
So thank you, Seth. Loved having you on the show. Really appreciate you. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. This has been Books Cafe, brought to you by free-ebooks.net. I'm Scott Paton, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.